what's up? It's Cash. Welcome back to another guitar lick lesson. We're going to be talking today about passing notes. Passing notes are quite a hard subject for players to get right, because you're playing all of the notes outside of the scales and you're working them into the scale, which in many cases doesn't make sense. The reason that we use them and how they can be so effective is pretty much what we're going to be diving into this video in the examples. But it's really taking your chromatic scale, which is pretty much every note in this vicinity that you're playing in, and you're able to move through and pass through every single note however you want at any time, as long as you have a few core things in place, like being able to land on the main landing notes, being able to know how you're manipulating and changing the sound from the rhythm that you're sitting behind, and figuring out that you shouldn't be landing on your passing note, or actually going to be essentially having a note that's outside of the scale. So we're going to take a look at how to do that, how to move through it, how to work it into your playing, and it becomes really, really exciting because it gives you a lot of confidence that it doesn't matter if you hit notes that are outside of the scale or you mess up. You know how to land and come back in. And that's what some of the greatest players in the world do, is you'll watch them on stage and it's not because they never mess up. They're messing up all the time. But the best guys in the world know how to cover it up. They know how to move off it and still please the ear. This is so critical. Let's check it out. Okay, let's take a look at how to play these passing notes. Alright, so here I'm just improvising in the A blues scale. Which is pretty much the A minor pentatonic with the flat 5. Now you would kind of consider that flat 5 note is a passing note, but in this particular case it's part of the key and it's what makes the actual scale sound bluesy. So when we're looking at a couple passing notes, we're looking at the chromatic scale, which is pretty much the ability to play every single note that we want within the scale. Anything that's in that degree, and know that we can't get it wrong. That gives you a huge amount of confidence. What you gotta pay attention to is your main notes. You know, so if your rhythm's going, so that's gonna be your 1. So your main notes, your landing notes, all your landing notes have to be within the scale. Your passing notes can be any other note, and it's not on the main, either the 1 or the 4. It's between. So it's a build up too, you know. So if I got my main notes, if I'm gonna be there, see, I'm ending on my main note there, but to get there, I went. So there I added in, obviously that's part of the scale, that's part of the scale, that's not part of the scale, that's part of the scale, and then so that's a passing note that I added in. Now what you gotta be aware of is when you're playing this behind an actual progression, you got to make sure that your passing notes, you don't stay on your passing notes, you don't land on your passing notes. What you're doing is you're using your passing notes to to manipulate and change the sound, you know. So if I'm going, instead of doing a normal run like, and then all of a sudden I was like, man, this particular time that I run up, I'm gonna throw my passing notes in, I'd go, you know, and you can get you can start to now play with the effects of things. So I'm like, oh, okay, there I want a bit of a sadder sound. See, if you land on a note that's not in the scale, it's gonna sound bad. If you land on a note that is, but you pass through, so I'm going, you're gonna be okay. You'll always be okay. So the rule pretty much is all the notes in the scale land on your main 1, 2, 3, 4 notes, the important notes in your rhythms. The passing notes you don't stay on, you don't land on, you just move through them. That's why they call them passing notes. But be very aware that those passing notes are going to manipulate the sound. So there were a bunch of passing notes, and then you can hear when it goes from the blues scale into a little bit of a sad minor sound, then comes back into the blues scale, passes through a bunch of notes which make the ear jump off, and then it ends nicely. So slowly. See that? Cool, I hope that helps. Hey, welcome back. Well done on making it to the end of the video. I hope that helped. I hope it made sense as well. If you like what we're doing here, hit subscribe. I'll leave a couple links in the description section if you want to get in touch or look further at some of the work that we're doing. There's also, whatever you're working on, whatever you're up against, drop a couple comments in the comments section. We can go into it more. We can work on a couple of videos like that. And yeah, do some deep diving. Cool. Have a good week.